Hey everybody, welcome to the webinar with the topic Sourcing Pattern Designs during COVID-19. I'm the CEO of the Patternsfrom Agency, design agency, and together with the creative director Kristiina Terguev, waving to you, we will run through this webinar. We will have some participants here in the stream, and we will also make a record of this webinar. So please keep your microphones and cameras off so far. And if you have any questions, so please use the chat of the event, which activates when you click your mouse on the screen. So you can ask your questions there. And we will answer to the comments and your questions by the end of the webinar. So I think it's now time to begin the webinar officially. So the stage is yours, Kristiina.
Thank you. So welcome also on my behalf to this webinar, and we are going to, of course, first introduce ourselves and how we work, and then later on we can also have a small discussion on sourcing patterns during the lockdown and in the future, since many of the fairs have been cancelled or postponed, and it's still really unclear if we will have any fairs this year. So this is why we first came up to this idea to have this webinar. So please, you can move forward, Jenny, with the slides. So we are Patternsfrom Agency Ltd, and we are established as a company only last year, but we have been working longer as a pattern design agency since 2014, and now we're actually one company. Before that, we were working as a joint project of two companies. So we are two agents, Jenny and I, and we also have 10 Finland-based designers who are the actual force in our company, actually. So this is our first financial year, and we have estimated that our turnover is 250 euros, and 90% of that is from international markets, so mainly Japan, China, Southeast Asia, but also some European customers and in Finnish customers. And yeah, about Jenny, our CEO, is more like a business lady, so she's the one who reaches out the customers more, and I am the creative director, so I have a designer and teacher background, so more coordinating role in this company maybe. So here you can see our designers. So we have 9 designers and one designer duo who are working with us. So they are not our employees, but freelance designers, oral educated designers, either Master of Arts or Bachelor of Arts, or in a design field, mostly in textiles or graphic design, some interior designers also, but all are specialized in pattern design. And we also seek continuously new talents. So we are having portfolio reviews here in Finland yearly, but it's also we always seek new ones to take to be our designers, but also to see what kind of new talents we are having here, since we have a good design education system here in Finland. So there's plenty of good educated designers here. Yeah, that's about us.
So what does actually a design agency do? Or what does especially Patternsfrom Agency do? We noticed that that all companies in this field, they have a little bit different approach. So here we state especially our activities. We do sniff for trends and business opportunities for designers. We don't stick always to the most obvious solutions, but we try to find new opportunities. We have also some roles what usually design studios do. For example, harmonizing the design process with our pattern concepts, about which you will be hearing in a while. We also represent and coach the designers to meet the needs of the pattern market. Saying this, so unlike some other agencies, we never buy the designs to ourselves, but we negotiate the agreements on behalf of the designers that we represent. Also for the companies who are in the need of designs, so we can help them as an agency. We can find and contact suitable customers for the designers' patterns and help the customers to find suitable ready-made or customized patterns for their own collections. We work both with the brands and also with the manufacturers, providing sample patterns for their different markets. We also help customers to find suitable designers for collecting or their collection, for designing their collections or entire concepts. That in a nutshell. And our means of reaching those previous goals. So we operate design with a design-first attitude. So everything what we provide has the design-first thinking. We are very much used to the remote offices, as all our designers, they work from their own homes. We have constant isolation, and the COVID-19 lockdown hasn't had any kind of effect on us or on our working methods. We attend 3 international trade fairs every year, at least so far. We have 2 stable ones and 1 kind of like yearly changing fair. The 2 constant ones, which we've been participating for 5-6 years in a row now, are Textile in Germany in January, and then Japantex in Japan in the end of the year. Then we've been also participating fairs in Moscow, Denmark, China, Stockholm, and other places. Hopefully Amsterdam in this fall. Our designers, they keep designing all the time, and we update our homepage with the new patterns to the collection 4 times a year. Those times we send newsletter to our customers about the new patterns. Also, we update our blog on a frequent basis, and the content should be helping customers to understand the world of textile design, and also give some information on how we and how our designers operate. So some background information as well. That we do mainly in our social media channels. We are active in Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Throughout the years, we have had a digital approach to the pattern design, so that since the pattern number 1, we've been delivering the designs in production-ready PDF files. So whenever a customer buys a pattern from us, so it's production-ready. However, we still run a project on digitalization of pattern design trade this year, and it includes some webinars, and we make a digital pattern archive, as well as we investigate if the virtual trade fair for pattern designs could be somehow possible.
Okay, thank you. So Jenny was talking about sniffing the trends and helping the designers to design. So as we have 10 designers, that means that all of them have their own individual style, and of course preferences how they use their style to make patterns. But since we are working together and representing them together in fairs and also when we meet customers, so we have noticed that it's better to have good concepts where we design the patterns so that it's more easy to the customers to see the variation of the patterns, but also how they could be different patterns for different designers and still fit them together, and how to make a collection of our patterns. And it also helps designers to focus more, so that not because they design these patterns without knowing who is the customer actually. So they need to have some restrictions in the design process, but of course all the designs are also possible to customize or modify. But anyway, here you can see an example of our concepts. So we have 3 concepts that are always there. So they are classy. This is more like more classical, more time-lasting designs, more Nordic style concept. Then we have lovely, which is more cute and more flowers, romantic things. And then we have whimsical, which is more experimental and fun, maybe more into kids and teenagers world, but also for adults. And these are the basic concepts. But then in the yearly basics, we make new trends on top of them with mood boards, color palettes, and so on. So in this picture, you can see on the left, we have the classy, which is reaching out for the year 21-22. So this at the moment, our designers are working with this Nordic light classic concept, which is about the light in the northern part of world. So the light and not having light is the inspiration, since we have the nightless night, and the other end we have the Camus time, which is no light at all in the northern part of Finland. So the inspiration to this classy that we are working now comes from the Nordic light. Then in the middle we have the lovely, which is this time the designers are working with the theme vintage treasure, which is more about the eclectic style with the romantic twist, where we can see the idea of flea markets and antique stores and different collectibles in it also. And then on the right, you can see the whimsical, which is the more fun, and now during the COVID lockdown, maybe more visible coming up trend as I see it. So it's the fun you can do when being home, being in your backyard, the games and the plays and the colorful things there. So this is how we work towards our concepts at the moment. Yeah, you can put the next slide in. So one way of looking at our collection is the concepts, which is there to help the customers to find suitable patterns fitting together, but also designers. And then in the other step lower, as to say, if you look at each design that the designer delivered to us to be in our collection, ready-made collection, they design it as this kind of pattern families where you have three patterns that fit together. They can be sold separately, so they are different in that way that if some other customer uses, for example, here the squirrel pattern, so the other patterns are independent patterns to use in some other customers' collection, but they still fit together. So when you need more patterns that are suitable together, you can buy a whole pattern family also. So this is one way to make things easier for the customer to source the patterns. So they are already somehow fitted together. And also our way of working is to add value, since for the patterns, not only that they are of course really unique, started by hand always, so we don't use any motifs that you can buy online or anything like this. So all that you see in our patterns are started by hand by our designers. And by this, we also create a whole design story around the pattern family and the patterns. So there's always some materials you can have concerning how the design process was started, what the inspiration is, how the idea was made, and then how it was sketched, and also the designer story. So in this picture, you can see that this is Siri Huovila, who is the other designer in Non-Odd Design Studio, the design duo that we have. And she created this pattern family with 3 patterns while visiting Stanley Park in Vancouver, Canada. So she have picked up some pictures, sketched some things around it, and then created this pattern family. So all this is also comes with the pattern, as to say. And just a moment, no. So as Jenny said, we have an archive of patterns that we have collected during the years. And we have 10 designers. That means that we have hundreds of designs, not everything visible in the webpage. We have only a portion of the designs there to see. And always the most fresh ones are only behind the link that you can see if you contact us. But the 3 ways of working with these patterns that we have is of course, when you see a nice pattern, or you can also request if you have a certain need for example, a pattern with a cat. So you can always request us to see what we have. And these patterns are all ready-made and production ready, as Jenny says, and they come with 1 to 3 different colorways. So this is one way of working, and this is really quick way of working, since the actual production files are already in our stock. So you can, as soon as we get the money, you can have the pattern and start producing it. And then, of course, we can always customize the patterns. When we have a ready-made pattern that maybe the colors are not exactly what you want, or there's a few flowers too much for your need, or you want to combine 2 different patterns, so we can make these changes for you. So then it would be a customized pattern. And of course, then there's always a possibility to make a commission for us. So you give the colors and what you need, or a mood board, or whatever you have, to give us the material where to start, and then we will design the pattern solely for your needs, and it will be only, we will consider your collection while doing it. But you can have a nice pattern also by only recoloring a ready-made pattern. It always depends what you are looking for.
So to go a little bit more deeply on the licenses that we sell. So we sell the rights to use the patterns, and we do that in 3 different ways. We have a limited exclusive term, which means that you have the right to use the pattern in 1 market, in 1 product group. The price for this kind of license begins from 300 euros, and that's but that means also that in the markets there you are not active. So we can be active, and there could be another company using the same pattern in different products. Then we have semi-exclusive rights, which means that you have either 1 market and all product groups in it, or you have global rights around the world for 1 product group. Then we have also global exclusive right, which means all markets and all product groups. As our business model lays down on the point is that we can sell the same patterns several times. So we have also limited the time of use. So it depends on the license, and it varies between 2 to 4 years. If it becomes a bestseller for you and you want to extend the term, so that's of course possible. We see the world as at the moment as in it would be divided into 10 different markets, and we have come up with 6 different product groups. And because of our way of working, also this pricing serves many kinds of business models. So both small local businesses as well as global multinationals are able to enjoy our professional designers' services, as well as the pattern stories and design stories, which are delivered with the patterns. And we always make a written agreement with a customer. The agreed terms, that we agree about the terms. Besides of, as Christina mentioned, so we have very extensive collection of ready-made patterns, and we have created some sample design service packages that some of our customers can utilize. We have creative pitch. There the customer shares with us the themes and materials and mood boards which the customer has. We go through our collection and we handpick a selection of 10 patterns according to the received requirements. At this point, we do not change the colorways or make any kind of amendments to the patterns, and so they are delivered as such. And if the company wants to use these patterns in the collections, so we negotiate about the license separately. Then we have the coordination of a collection. There, it's our work to create the design story and mood board, as well as the color charts. We begin by choosing a wider color chart, but by the end of the design process, it's limited to 7 colors, which are either in spring and summer or fall winter colors. We also choose 10 patterns from our archives, which are suitable for this concept, and we change the colors for the customer to see how the patterns would look like in the reality. Also here, we negotiate about the license to use separately. Then we can design also by commission, where the customer gives us themes, colorways, and mood boards. We do not utilize our ready-made pattern stock, but we start from the scratch and pitch to the customers 10 completely unique sketches. Out of those, you can either choose, either your favorite designer based on their portfolios online, or we can recommend you a designer to work with. These sketches, either one or several of them, they can be developed into repeats and finalized as production-ready PDF files, but it's not a must. And also here, the license to use the pattern or patterns is negotiated separately. So as the theme was about the pattern sourcing during the COVID-19, we want to give you also other options and not to discuss about our services only. So what we have come across during the years, there are several very good options for sourcing these pattern designs, and they are all available online. First, I would like to remind about the different trade fairs that offer very good catalogs, both online and offline. So there it's easy to check potential suppliers. For example, heimtextile.de is good place for home textile design studios. And then another one is the fair in Paris. Do you remember the name of the fair, Christina? Now I have blackout. I will let you know about the Parisian trade fair after a while. I'm sorry about this. But also recent years, there have been more and more these online agencies. One of the sources that has been there for the longest time is the pattern bank in the middle of the screen. There you can get a pattern for a couple of maybe tens of euros, the cheapest licenses. Then we have also this one on the left, Ready Pattern, an initiative coming from India. They do also a very good job for showcasing patterns in different kinds of categorization. Also, a Chinese initiative, Hua Gao Wang, has been in the markets for some times. And these two, of course, pattern bank included, so those three, they combine very well the customers with the designers. We don't have more experience about kind of like the level of storytelling in those companies, but I suppose that that you only buy an anonymous design which you like. So there is not so much personality, or you don't perhaps even know so well about who has been designing the pattern. You buy it by the looks. If you have any other own experiences, by the way, the French market, the French exhibition was Premier Vision.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had my mic off, so you didn't hear when I said. I realized it later.
Yes. So so if you have any other sources, so feel free to share, for example, in the chat, your favorite source for pattern designs. We are happy to add that to our webinars then. But as said, so there are plenty of pattern designers out in the world. Also, what could be good source to check is, of course, Instagram. That gives lots of inspiration, and many designers do have private accounts there, and it's easy to check their work and follow about their frequent updates and so. Also, some are active in other social media channels. But that's our 2 cents for this. There are lots of patterns out there, but how to find them, it could be a challenge.
So this was basically the thing we want to tell you. Of course, I see that we are now only 5 people. So if you want to ask something or comment on something, we would be happy to hear. You can either write it in the chat, or then you can just open the mic and say it. So it would be nice to hear from you. So we have also coming up some other webinars, probably only in Finnish. Let's see what happens, but we will inform, of course, when we do have them. But most of all, we would be really interested on hearing if you would be interested on joining a virtual pattern design trade fair. And that's why we have this questionnaire that you can actually find the link for the questionnaire in our blog, in our webpage. So we would be really glad if you would take some time to answer that. So then we would know if it would be nice event to have, and then maybe start arranging one if there would be people who would be interested on that. But does someone want to say something or ask something?
I can add still that the questionnaire is open until end of June 2020. So if you are viewing this webinar afterwards, so before that day, so please feel free to copy the link and answer the questionnaire.
And of course, if you don't want to ask now here together in the chat or out loud, but you still have any questions, I wish you contact us by email. We can arrange a private Zoom meeting, or then just exchange emails. But I want you to remember that we always want to and try to make a solution and agreement that is good for the customer and good for the designers. So if something is maybe makes you think if it's okay or if it's not for your company, some term that we have here explained. So everything is negotiable. So we really want to hear from you and understand what is your company's need. But if there is no questions, then maybe we can end this webinar for now, and then wish you good health and nice summertime, and hope to hear from you somehow later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us today.